Welcome to Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the podcast that shows you how to convert 8 out of 10 sales conversations without acting like a douchebag. I'm Alicia Barr, creator of Black Sheep Sales, a signature fit sales system that's helped fast growth companies turn messy, inconsistent sales teams into aligned, profitable machines. Because if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there's no selling involved. This podcast is where modern sales meets modern sales leadership. It's about a smarter, more effective way to sell and lead sales teams that actually works in today's world. We're talking strategy, messaging, performance, and the system your sales team actually needs to win. If you're done with outdated tactics, pushy, aggressive sales cultures, and high turnover teams, you're in the right place. Ready to build what works now? Visit aliciabarr.com, and now let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about something that makes 100% of the difference in your sales and is often really overlooked, and it is positioning your offer. I'm noticing that a lot of people don't understand what this means. Maybe they do in theory, kind of, in a vague sense of the word, but not in how to actually apply that to them or why it matters. So your positioning is going to differ depending on who you're talking to, your audience, right? So an example that can be really helpful is talking about a baseball game. Why do I use baseball? I don't know, because I don't even watch baseball. But this always seems to land. If there's a baseball game that you want to invite a friend to, and you have a few friends to pick from, let's say. So you have one friend who has small children at home, and you have another friend who is single and looking to meet somebody. Now, you're going to position the game to these two friends very differently, right? To the friend who has small children, you're going to talk about how you got a great spot behind the home plate, how the weather's going to be really good. It'll be so great to have some me time away from the noise, right? If you're talking to your friend who's single, then you're going to talk about how there's going to be all these singles there to mingle with. I'll buy you a beer. It'll be great. Now, here's the thing. This game is the same game, right? They're not lying. You wouldn't be lying about the game in either of these scenarios. You're simply positioning the same exact game for the person that you're talking to in a way that's going to motivate them based on what you know is important to them right now. So the only difference, and people do this all the time in their regular life, right? They know what is going to make their friend join them at the concert. They know what's going to make their partner agree to the home project. They know what's going to convince their kid to do that thing that they need them to do. The difference in a sales conversation is that you don't know yet. You need to ask questions that uncover what motivates the other person. Now, ideally, you have an idea of your audience as a whole. We're targeting this person who's at the beginning because our offer is a really great fit to get them started faster. Or we're targeting this audience that is more in the middle of building something because this is going to accelerate that frustrating in-between time. Whatever the case is, you have picked your audience because they fit your offer. Ideally, you've picked them because they're an easier sell, a shorter sales timeline. They have a more urgent, painful issue that you solve. Because the truth is, a lot of different people could benefit from your offer, right? So you have to narrow down and figure out which one you like working with the most and who gets the best result with you. And then you can position your offer for that audience online, in your marketing, ahead of the sales conversation, during the sales conversation. So there is an element of discovery and understanding what motivates the specific person in front of you and the nuance of that so that you can custom position your offer inside of that current sales conversation. However, there should be positioning that is applied all the time, right? So for example, one of my clients is a career coach. And one of the big pieces of positioning that makes a difference for people is understanding that this is a different skill set. You can be really good at your job and not know how to have a resume that gets interviews or how to interview and communicate your stories in a way that that helps somebody understand your skill set and how it would apply to them and why they would want that and the result it would create for them. Those are different skill sets. And the one where you're supposed to create a resume that gets interviews and you're supposed to interview in a way that gets offers is like, where would you learn that? You don't learn that in school. Your family doesn't teach you that, right? And you really only need to use that skill set a few times in your life. Now, it's a very valuable skill set to have because it's what's going to keep you gainfully employed at a place that you love and a salary that you really want, right? But there's no other time for you to really learn it. So being able to position this as a skill set for top performers. This is the skill set that the people who make the most money have because they know it's not just about being great at their job. It's about how they communicate the impact they can bring to a company. And that's not something that you learn anywhere else. You invested in college, and this is more of a guarantee than college. It's even more specific. It's specific to you, not just like an industry that you're going into, right? So to invest in this skill set in a way that is specific to you and is going to benefit you for the rest of your life and directly create more vacations, more memories, more houses, more cars, which are all the things that people are used to investing in. This is going to directly create more of those, right? So being able to position it in that way, where you could also position it a different way, right? You could position it as, this is how you get out of unemployment. Like, that's not our ideal audience though, because that person is much more desperate and in a state of panic, basically. So instead, we really want to meet those people that want to be top performers, that want a life by design that they are intentionally creating and love. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can apply this to your service and your team. So a lot of times the team doesn't know how to position your offer. And a lot of times, even founder-led sales don't know how to position their offer. They're accidentally defaulting on all of the deliverables included. So you're going to get, for example, in the career coach scenario, like you're going to get your resume, you're going to get negotiations training, blah, 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 blah. Instead of saying a skill set that benefits you for your entire life in getting a high paying, good culture job. That is different from all of these deliverables. So a lot of times people will sell an offer without any positioning and just the deliverables. And the positioning is what makes all the difference. It's the positioning of the deliverables. What does this deliverable do for somebody's life? Based on where they are, what challenge they're dealing with, and where they want to go, how does this offer solve that? It's positioning. And you can position something different, like a million different ways, while still talking about the same thing. So this is another thing that people get caught up on, is that they feel like they need to tell somebody, a prospect, everything about their service, right? Everything that's included. And, in the scenario of the baseball game, where, one person would be more compelled by getting a beer and the singles who are mingling, and the other person would be compelled by the spot behind the plate and the weather. The person with the spot behind the plate and the weather, you could also mention, and there's going to be singles there mingling over here. And I'll buy you a beer. They just don't care. So why are you going to mention that? You know what I mean? You don't need to tell someone everything about your offer. You need to tell them the things that make the difference for them. And that is also a part of positioning, right? So these kind of talk tracks and differentiators and ways of showing the value of what you offer and how that makes a difference in someone's life, that is positioning and what I do. And it makes all the difference in your sales happening at a much higher rate and happening at a much faster rate. So if this is something you need for your sales team, because the team often isn't going to know how to position their offer best, you have a ton of experience. At this point, you've had clients, what the clients that you enjoy working with the best, what they like about your offer and what they get out of it and what they're looking for from it. And that information is something that new salespeople don't have. They don't have all of those years of experience of talking to all these different people and having all these different clients. So having somebody extract that from your brain and put it down on paper for other people to run with, instead of them trying to figure out a bunch of different ways they could position it and see what lands, that takes time. That takes trial and error, and it takes wasted leads and money and opportunity. So if you want to skip all of that, I am here. Just book a call, and I'm happy to discuss how to better position your offers for your team or for yourself. And if you guys found this valuable, please like, share, and subscribe, because that stuff really makes a difference. And thank you so much for listening. I will see you all next time.